Hi, JD here again on Anzac Day. Just a quickie. After I did a Facebook Live about 20 minutes ago, and it was very entertaining,
Oh,
wasn't it?
yes, yes,
Absolutely,
yes,
very entertaining.
actually.
I had a couple of text messages from people who know me, and obviously they know my phone number. That's why they could text message me, and asked if I could just provide some quick advice on Facebook marketing because they're about to launch into a Facebook campaign over the coming weekend. And I rang one back and I gave him an example of how to use Facebook advertising because there's so many people using Facebook and making Mark Zuckerberg really, really rich, but not getting a lot of return out of it themselves. And look, we fell into that category for a while too, because it's not until you get pretty serious about Facebook advertising, and we are, that you wake up to yourself and go, hang on, this thing is a sponge for sucking up money. We better make sure that we know how to use it. And look, it's not that much different from any other media. I know that digital marketing agency people will try and tell you that it is white man's witch, Dr. Magic, but it's not. It's very similar to TV or radio or newspapers or any of that sort of stuff, except it's brilliant. It's brilliant in terms of laser targeting. So therefore, in the old days, and even today, some people are still spending money on TV. Like, for example, tonight on Current Affair, in a major capital city like Sydney, you'll pay nearly $20,000 for a 30-second spot. Whereas the great thing with Facebook is there's the new TV. What you're doing right now is watching my own TV station, and I'm zeroing in whenever I want onto a particular target audience. So, for example, if you watch 20% of this, then we can then chase you around the internet by retargeting, and it's a perfect message to market match. There's no way that TV stations can do that. Number one, they don't have any facility for tracking who's watching.
No.
And number two, you're stuck with a 30-second commercial.
And also, once they've played that once, no one's ever going to see it again, because no one's going to go back like at least in Facebook.
Yep.
Your post is going around and around and around. I mean, it's just
So-
once.
So in something like this live, I might only have a handful of people watching, and that's fine. But by tomorrow, that might be 100, 200, 300, 400. And if we find that it has good traction, and there are a good number of people watching for at least 20 or 30% of the video, then we can then boost that with $50 or $75 or $30, whatever it may
For
be.
as long as you want, for as much as you want.
And to whatever
And to
geographic
whatever, yeah.
region. So if I feel that, for argument's sake, there's money in Los Angeles in business owners wanting to know this wow factor stuff, then I can just throw $50 and boost it into Los Angeles into a particular demographic profile.
Yes.
In my instance, I'm after only business owners. I'm not after employees. I mean, my stuff is all about showing business owners how to get more people, how to get more sales. And so therefore I don't want to talk to Betty Bankstown. I only want to talk to Betty Bankstown if she's got a business, and I can do that. So it's just incredible.
Whereas TV, it just went to whoever. Like, you haven't got any idea who the demographic is that's watching that.
Well, the TV stations would tell you a broad demographic, like, for example, men are watching the sports program at lunchtime or the footy show, and the predominant audience might be, 25 through to 54, but that's a pretty wide demographic profile.
Yeah.
And with the beauty of Facebook is that it's absolutely laser
We can
targeted.
get their interests, what they like, whereas you're not going to get that on TV.
No.
You can't get any of that.
And what I said to this particular guy that rang me, I said to him, look, I'll give you an example of how creatively you might like to use Facebook to get avalanche leads. And I gave him an example of an aluminium fence company in New South Wales. And that aluminium fence company, its target audience was older homes or owners of older homes who had a paling wooden fence that might be falling over. And anyway, he was using Facebook, or what he called Face Page, and he said to me, "Oh, JD, that Face Page doesn't work." And I went, because he spoke like that, "JD, that Facebook, that
I
Face
don't
Page."
think he did
Yes, he
speak
did.
like
he had
that.
a really weird accent. He said, "JD, that face." He had
called
He had a
exaggeration.
Peter Jackson 50s in his mouth, and smoking at the time. Not that it was a FaceTime, but I'm sure that's what he had. He said that FaceTime doesn't, well, Face Page doesn't work. It's made it's Facebook, you idiot. Anyway, so I said to him, "Do you want to just get out of the way and let us handle it?" He said, "Yeah, okay, righto." As he threw the cigarette onto
And
his
carpet.
Yeah, into his shag carpet.
And shag carpet.
Because that's
Yeah.
obviously
Cream shag
cream
carpet.
shag carpet, because that's where he lived. Anyway, so therefore I said to him, okay, what we'll do is we'll create a lot of leads for you, because we will go and put a Facebook campaign together for specifically suburbs that have got owners of older homes. So therefore it's an older home suburb. They might be 20, 30, 40 years old. And they are obviously predominantly the audience is after, because they've probably got a paling wooden fence that's very old. It might be, falling down in disrepair. So what we did is we put together an advertising campaign on Facebook with a picture of an old fence falling over, and the headline was "Enter the ugliest back fence in Australia" contest. Now think about how clever that was. Can you pat me on the back, Gal, if you don't mind? I can't get around to pat myself on the back. So anyway, if I do say so myself, it's pretty clever because we flushed out everyone who had a ugly back fence who was interested in getting basically a makeover. When I say flushed out everyone, we flushed out a lot. Okay, so therefore that campaign is zeroed in on owners of homes that are 20, 30, 40 years old, so it's an older postcode, and we're saying to them, win an aluminium fence makeover for your crappy wooden fence. All you have to do is take a photograph, okay, of your back fence and load it up to our Facebook page, and you're in the chance to win a fence makeover worth $5,000, which of course cost him probably $1,000 because he makes the damn fences, right? Guess what? 2 years worth of leads in 3 days. I got to get my fingers right. So it's 2 years worth of leads in 3 days. He rang me after 3 days and said, JD, we've got to turn that face page thing off. I said, Facebook. He said, we've got to turn it off because we have 2 years worth of leads in just a few days. Guess how much we'd spent? I think it was $514 or $519. It was, let's say, $500 on Facebook over 3 days, and he had 2 years worth of leads. Because what we did is that by actually having a contest to say, listen, if you've got a crappy old fence, you'd like a fence makeover, then just take a photo of it and then post it to our Facebook page. We made everyone who was looking for a new fence, or at least maybe not looking for it at the time, they didn't know they were looking for it, but when they saw they could win one, they glowed in the dark. Because guess what? Not only did they virtually put their hand up and just say, yeah, well, shit, we got a shitty fence, they're giving you a picture of it. It'd be like people taking a picture of their teeth and sending it off to a dentist, wouldn't it?
Disgusting.
Yeah, so therefore that maybe is not a... Yeah,
No,
anyway.
I'm not even thinking about
So
that.
the thing is that if you want to glow in the dark like that, then think about using Facebook creatively and strategically. So the heading on this, I think, is use Facebook strategically. Facebook...
I was just saying, think about in the olden days when you didn't have Facebook, how could you have ever done that? Like,
Couldn't.
You put an ad in the newspaper and you can't target where that newspaper's going. You only know that a sort of a rough demographic of who's looking at, but they're not in your area.
Oh, the Gold Coast Bulletin, for example, will say to you, we sell 74,000 papers on a Saturday. And I go, okay, where? If I'm only interested in the southern area of the Gold Coast because that's where my butcher shop is, how many are sold in that area? And of course they can't tell you, or they won't.
Radio would have been the same.
Radio,
TV,
I mean,
all the same.
in Sydney, if you happen to be in, Liverpool or Parramatta, I remember, we had clients in Sydney where they say, oh, we're advertising on 2UE radio station, not getting any results. Of course you wouldn't be, because you are in Parramatta and the radio advertising is going out all over Sydney. So 95% of your radio advertising is wasted. No one from Manly is going to drive to Parramatta. They're just not going to do that. So therefore, this is an incredible opportunity that we're all living through at the moment. Just be careful who you tap into to get the advice. And I suggest that without... could you pat me on the back again, Gareth?
Oh, my goodness.
You know what? I even make myself sick.
You'll put
okay?
a sign there, pat me on the back.
Okay, I make myself sick. But look, truly, you're not going to get this sort of creativity. You're not going to get this outside the square thinking from a regular digital marketing agency, because they will tell you what that guy did. Have a picture of an aluminium fence and put some sort of deal up, and they'll click you. No, they won't. Now, by the way, the big mistake that he made when he was showing on Facebook his aluminium fence and just putting underneath it, we're an aluminium fence company, would you like one, was that he was showing the features. He was actually concentrating on the features. The features is the aluminium fence. The benefits is the actual look and feel and value, increased value of your home by having a better backyard fence. So really, if there's another thing to take out of this in terms of the direct response style mentality, is concentrate on the benefits, not the features. So the whole idea is that the benefits is what you should be concentrating on. Anyway, look, enough ranting on Anzac Day, but I just thought I'd mention that because I did have a couple of people contact me after the last Facebook thing and just say, look, social media, can you just give us a quick tip on that? And I thought, well, instead of just giving it to them, I might as well give it to whoever's watching. If you're interested in having me take over your marketing and
taking him away from me.
Exactly. I mean, not so much taking over. It sounds, God, that sounds weird, doesn't it? But if you want some help in outside the square marketing, then just either message below, JD, can you contact me, and give me your number, of course, or you just go to theinstituteofwow.com and you'll see there's an inquiry form if you're interested in private coaching. Our private coaching, I think, is quite different from a number of others that I've seen. I won't go into why, but it's creativity based on logic. So a lot of ponytail creatives will give you a good idea, but it's not actually based on message to market match. Our stuff is all based on science, and then we put the pixie dust creativity
and the direct
on top of it.
response. And that direct response doesn't matter what type of business, or doesn't matter. Direct response can be suited to any type of business. It
Yep.
could be high end. It can be, you know, the lower end, can't it? You can change it however you want it. It's just
Exactly.
getting people immediately to react
Yep,
to
and
what
it's
you're
all
doing.
about message to market match. If I've got a client on board who should look like the Versace or should look like David Jones, we make sure they do.
Yep.
If it happens to be a big W discount sort of business, then of course we make sure that they look appropriate as well. So it's all message to market match, and it's all about thinking wow factor mentality, but with direct response measurability. You will not get from me any advice to sponsor the Brisbane Broncos or sponsor the Commonwealth Games or to put your ads on the side of buses or the backs of taxis, because that's rubbish, absolute rubbish for smaller to medium-sized businesses. Ask yourself how many times you've ever bought anything off the side of a bus, the back of a taxi, or a billboard on the freeway, except McDonald's being 4 minutes ahead. I've never stopped, doing 110 along the freeway because I've just seen a box of breakfast cereal on the billboard on the freeway. It just doesn't work. So therefore, get the hell out of all that. And if anyone's advising you to do that, just quote to them what I'm about to say, because this will be
Profound, is
very
it?
profound and deep and meaningful.
Okay, I'm waiting.
Whereas most advertising agencies will tell you to get them to fall in love with your brand so that they will taste your product. We flip that. We show you how to get them to taste your product so that they'll fall in love with your brand. Good. UGAR was here for a reason.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, have a good
See you
weekend.
later.
Good weekend. Well, it is a good weekend. It's coming up Thursday. Isn't it fantastic? It's like a 4-day weekend. Whoever goes to work tomorrow won't
I
work.
know,
They're
I
not going
know,
to work.
no.
Okay, see you
Ta-da.
guys.